Now, before people get it twisted, we love and adore new general manager Kwesi Adofo-Mensah. He's going about things from a different perspective. The analytics bleeding into the team, getting younger, faster, cheaper, that whole thing, and taking care of your superstars. It's a new day. It's a new dawn. I believe that Kwesi and Kevin O'Connell will bring the Vikings a Jerome Barty. But pretty Rick Spielman. I mean, Spielman, been in this ish since 92. Look at all the BS that he's been through. All that stuff, man. Rick Spielman being the Vikings GM since 2007, or de facto GM. First draft pick was Adrian Peterson from back in the day, and he really was the GM that we grew up with, right? And what's really interesting is that Spielman is still, even though Spielman isn't in the National Football League at the moment in time, he's still in the media, doing work for CBS Sports, doing work for the 33rd team, and it is so fascinating hearing the insider's perspective on personnel moves, especially when he talks about his former team, and especially when he talks about players that he drafted or signed or acquired. It's really interesting, man. So Spielman on the 33rd team did up 3 key free agents that should be signed for the 2023 season, and 2 of them have Vikings ties. So number one, well, all right, so yeah, he talks about Teddy. We'll get to that. But he says that the Vikings should sign Kareem Hunt, blah, 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 blah. Kareem Hunt has had a productive career as a number 2 running back. He's best known for what he did in Kansas City. He was Nick Chubb's backup with the Browns the last 2 years. Hunt's touches decrease, but he still has a powerful runner with excellent vision to catch the ball out of the backfield. But he has some durability issues last season, and he'll have to show that he can stay healthy as he turns 28 in August. Blah, 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 blah. Teams that should sign him: Cowboys if they don't sign Zeke. Second is the Dolphins, but everyone is linking Dalvin there. 3 is the Minnesota Vikings. Now that they've released Cook, they don't have a proven commodity behind Alexander Madison. Now, not exactly buying that. Now, I sort of get what Spielman's saying about Kareem Hunt. Yes, you have a veteran running back who can run with a little bit of power, has some decent speed, although he is getting up there in age, but he will be super cheap. I mean, would you rather have Dalvin at $10 million per year or Kareem Hunt at 2? Somewhere in there. And also he is plus as a receiver out of the backfield as well as a pass protector, but I'm actually good with the Vikings running back room. Madison is a do-it-all 3-down running back. Ty Chandler, Dwayne McBride can be a nice composite backup. Kinkene and Wangu will be in the mix as well. So I think overall the Vikings running back room is really good. And also I don't think Kwesi is all about spending up premium dollars, even though $2-3 million a year isn't necessarily a premium, but you do have Madison on a second contract. The other 3 are on the rookie deals, so I think they're good to go there. So I'm sort of out on Kareem Hunt, even though I do understand where Spielman's coming from as a guy who he's always put a premium in the running back position. Spielman's a little bit old school, where he drafted Adrian Peterson. He drafted Toby Gerhart like 3 years after drafting Adrian Peterson. He drafted Dalvin Cook. So he has put a lot of stock into the running back position. He drafted Madison too. All right, so I get where the angle that he's approaching this from, but nah. Now, the really interesting thing, so let's talk about Teddy Bridgewater. That's right. Hey, Teddy. And of course, Spielman does have a lot of history with Hey, Teddy from back in the day. First-round pick in 2014, trading up with the Seahawks at 32 to go get him. And Teddy, Teddy had his ups and downs, and yes, he got a lot of stick from fans because of lack of arm strength, but he was racked up and jacked up heading into year 3, and then his leg socially distanced from his body, and it's really unfortunate because we'll never know. And he's been a serviceable backup, bouncing around the league with the Saints, with the Dolphins recently, and he's been fine as that backup role, but he never got to that point where he was at, where he did have flashes his first couple of years, but that's beside the point. But of course, Spielman, like we said, did draft Teddy, so obviously he has affinity for him. And I think Teddy deserves to be in the league as a backup right now. This is what he wrote about Teddy. Teddy Bridgewater is one of the league's premier backup quarterbacks. We drafted him in Minnesota in 2014. The next season, he took us to an 11-5 record in the playoffs. We lost to the Seattle Seahawks in a wildcard game in 17 below zero weather at the University of Minnesota Stadium. I love that that's how he categorizes it, as opposed to the, I don't know, like if you catch Rick Spielman in a private moment, maybe he calls it the, I don't know, the effing Blair Walsh game. Or, hey, if Zimmer was a little bit more aggressive at any point during that game, and because first touchdown was going to win that game, not that I'm bitter. In 2016, he suffered a significant knee injury that kept him out for most of the 2 seasons. He went on to be a backup in New Orleans, and when Drew Brees got hurt, Bridgewater led the Saints to a 5-0 record. People forget that. I mean, Teddy was really damn solid there for a hot second. Last season, he was with the Miami Dolphins and went 0-2 in his starts. He battled knee injuries, and the pinky on his throwing hand bothered him most of the season. Bridgewater is a smart and excellent leader. He has enough mobility that he can read through his progressions and get the ball out, but he's more of a game manager now. 2 landing spots to stick out for Bridgewater, even considering most teams want to look at their young options first. Blah, blah, blah. Chargers behind Justin Herbert. They got Easton Stick, the pride of NDSU, as well as Max Duggan, the pride of TCU. I mean, yeah. The other team is the Greasy, Grimy Green Bay Packers, who are starting the Jordan Love era. Behind him, they have rookie Sean Clifford, who they drafted in the 5th round, but many viewed as a college free agent, and Denny Etling, who was a free agent from LSU a few years ago. Teams will be patient with their young quarterbacks, but don't be surprised if one of these teams sign Bridgewater. So, Rick, we trusted you. We trusted you, man, and now you're sending Teddy across the river. Hey, Teddy. Can't do it. Can't do it. Teddy was picked to be the guy in 2014, and then he led the Vikings to the playoffs, and with that knee injury, didn't quite work out. But even though he's already been the backup for the Saints, and the Saints are the Vikings' sworn enemy, but Packers, even though Spielman, what sucks here is that Spielman's logic is sound, but maybe this is just twisting the knife a little bit, because he knows that Teddy still has a lot of fans amongst the Vikings fans, and he's just like, hey, that guy who I drafted and traded up in the 1st round to be the future franchise quarterback of the Vikings? How about we send him to the Packers? Even though logically it makes sense, can't do it. Can't do it, man. I hope Teddy retires versus signing with the Packers. Or no, it's a good point. Send him to the Chargers. Like, have him back up Justin Herbert, be the veteran backup there. That makes way more sense. You can get Max Duggan on the practice squad, have Easton Stick be quarterback 3. Go from there, man. But Rick, come on, man. Come on, pretty Ricky. But your thoughts are thoughts. Former Vikings general manager Rick Spielman thinks that the Vikings should sign a veteran running back Kareem Hunt, and then Teddy to the Packers. About that. Let us know your thoughts and our thoughts and his thoughts in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support the work? Put a little something in the Venmo. But till next time, Skull Production Value.